Hello, and welcome to this week Training Tuesday Live. We are Magnet Marketers. We're coming to you from our homes today. We're bringing you into our homes. As many of you are probably, maybe most likely watching it from your home today. But hey, if we've not met before, my name is Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group in the Relationship Marketing System. I'm my awesome co-host. He's Mike Ingrich. He is the president of Digital Hill, the co-founder of the popular apps Woftio, a tab site, published author extraordinaire, just all around great guy. And today we're going to be talking about something that's on many of your minds, most likely, which is the coronavirus, but more importantly, how to creatively combat the coronavirus within your business, whether you're self-employed, have a company that employs others, or you're just really interested in what is happening maybe with a spouse's role or whatnot, or even for your clients. And by no way do we have all the answers at all, nor do I think anyone does. But we just want to share just some tips that we found. Both Mike and I have worked remote for a long time. So just some tips that we found and some things that may help you, as well as please do share any resources that you have found as well. But before we dive into the tips, hey, Mike, how are you and what's on your mind with all this right now?
Yes, I'm doing well, and just amazed at the speed of change that we've experienced in the past 5 days. Really. I mean, just yeah. I'm just kind of wow, kind of from all of that. I mean, yesterday I was in at my co-working office downtown Lancaster. Had ridden my bike in there, and we got the news in the afternoon that Pennsylvania as a state was kind of going on the lockdown. Basically, all non-essential businesses were supposed to cease operations at midnight, that type of thing, so that restaurants, everything else, and even impacted the co-working facility. So basically, as I left that day, I was like, see ya. Yeah, this is weird. I mean, so a lot of just different emotions and things, different feelings. So now I'm working from home, and I do that some. Now the difference is the house is full, with all my kids are home and everything else. So
Oh my gosh.
so that's different. But I kind of just thinking back to what do I have to compare it to? I mean, they're like, oh, we're gonna get bored. I'm like, dude, you have no idea. I mean, we used to go through blizzards when I was like 12 years old, and there was no internet, there was no Netflix, there was no YouTube. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Your parents are like, here's a bucket. Actually, it wasn't even a bucket. It was like one of the big mixing bowls. And she's like, use that to dig a hole in a tunnel outside and call it fun, right? Like,
There you go.
blizzards there. And there wasn't all like the free snacks. You had to like wait till scheduled meal times and whatnot. You remember that? But yeah, no. And I did see a meme though today that I think is just important, and kind of the message and the vibe I do want to spread as we talk about all this. I get it. Like, it's so scary. None of it. Many people have anxiety of the unknown, right? But I think it's all about perspective and our mindset, everything and anything. And we always usually come back better than ever with any trial that we go through. And I seen this mom share a post, and it was talking about her toddler kind of walking into the meeting, because as you said, our houses are not empty when you have families anymore, when you're doing like these shows. And I don't want to misquote it, so I'm going to grab where I shared it in my GroupMe app with my team members, just to kind of give them peace of mind too. And it said, how you treat the kids that show up in your remote meetings will show everyone on the call how you'll treat them too. And I was like, that is awesome. And I think that's the approach that all of us need to take with all of this, is grace and understanding that all of us are going through this together. So you may have kids that are yelling in the background. I just unplugged my doorbell in case Amazon comes right now, while they still can come. And nothing is really the norm right now. So it's really about how can we work together in a mind of understanding through all of this, and do the best we can.
Yeah, I like that.
It reminds me of that newscaster that was going, or he was on an interview and his like son comes in the back. Do you remember that? It was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember that one. That'd be a good one to see again. Yeah, yeah, that was a good one. Oh yeah. So I mean, yeah, lots of things going on, and I think that at the same time for my team, and we've been doing this for a few years then. So I mean, it of course this is different. Like I said, maybe our houses are full of other people. We're not used to being there at the same time all the time, but we're used to working remote, and we can talk about that. We can, and
Yeah.
just the
And that's some of
speed
the
of
tips that
change
we want to
and
go
things.
through because
Yep.
some people have not done that before. And so, as you know, and I'm going to share some links in the comments here, many businesses are either have been asked to close completely, or they've been asked to kind of limit contact, especially with any person that is working in a group of 50 or more, or now they're saying even 10 or more gathered together, kind of limiting that, as well as just precautionary in the first place. So what can you do to limit the amount of people that need to be in your workspace? Because with modern technology today, as Mike said, you and I have been doing it. I've been doing it for 13 years, working remote. And even at the agency, yes, we have an office, but everybody was only used to going in there 2 days a week anyway. So it can be done with large teams, depending on your work, granted. But we have to get creative in today's age, and there's many
Yeah.
tools that are available and that are being made available by companies for free right now to really help you pivot and adjust to doing just that. So I'm going to give a couple examples, and Mike, I want you to chime in here too with some of the things that you have set up. But the biggest thing, one, is doing things like this or remote hangouts when you need to have a conversation with someone. So we use Google Hangouts to do that. And all of our meetings, we've told clients like, hey, we're going to do it through a Google Hangout instead. So you can still get that vibe of having a large conversation with everyone, kind of more face to face, if you will, without the germs, because it's virtual. You can share your screen. You can get a lot done right there just using a Google or a Zoom type feature. And Zoom is now offering it for free to help businesses out during this time while they're transitioning there. So that's one tool to use just to eliminate the we need to meet kind of situation, because you can do it with anyone from anywhere.
Yes, absolutely. And so I like to I did actually a podcast on this last fall, and just talking about remote teams kind of before all this things, and I talk about it with three T's. So there's time, tools, and touch that
Mhm.
still need to happen remotely. You need to find ways to do those things. So for time, I like to talk about the people need to have some set times, that's where they kind of show up, or where they have a regular meeting. You need to meet with your team, or meet with the individuals on your team, kind of on a weekly basis. They're going to need some set times that they know that they can check in, so they don't feel adrift, they don't feel out of it, they don't feel alone, that type of thing. So intentional times, check-in times are important, and they don't have to be long or that type of thing, but it's that intentionality of how you doing, what are you doing, how's it going, that type of thing.
Mhm.
And then tools we can talk about, like you just mentioned, Zoom, Google Hangouts, the
Yeah,
chat
I'll share those in
features.
there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll do a number of those. Are incredibly important in this one, and that really helps, like these types of things. um, and then the touch is that fact that what's the next best level from shaking hands, and that is
Mhm.
basically a video conference like this kind of thing, where you can see mannerisms, you can see hand motions, kind of things. You can get perspective that you don't necessarily get with email communication. And so that's the point of a touch point where they're interacting.
Yeah.
And your touch also kind of goes down to your digital etiquette. So you have to
Mhm.
remember that in the absence of some video, if it's just email, if it's just chat, you have to over communicate. Be sensitive with your communication, so that people get the what's behind it, the tone that you want to set,
Mhm.
because that's not necessarily evident in a quick email or something like that. So
Text,
touch
yeah.
point, yeah, how
Yeah,
you do it.
and even taking it a step further from there, and kind of where really intended to kind of start this is the benefit of having this kind of communication is I can tell how you're feeling right now. I can see your tone. I can kind of do a check-in, and that's the most important thing for businesses right now is first having that level of communication. And granted, you're going through a lot as a business owner and leader, and you're going to need some peers, which we're going to talk about too. But first, just thinking about the plan, pausing, breathing, thinking through your plan of communication, and then your plan of pivoting creatively. So looking at your business as it exists today, and we're sharing some of the tools, we'll lay it out, and we're happy. I am definitely happy and always open. If anybody wants to know how to set up a remote team and use these tools, please contact me. I'd be happy to help you. But looking at how am I going to communicate with my team? How am I going to communicate with my clients and my community? And these remote tools can help, as well as even having social media in place. That's really a benefit of it. But thinking through your communication plan is first and foremost, because your clients and your community, as these announcements are coming out daily by the president, the governors, the city officials saying, this is going to be closed down, this is changing, whatever, you want to have a response to that, and one that is coming from you versus others asking questions. So thinking through this now, and really, granted, breathing, staying positive. I think it's been a great way for us to honestly connect with our audience in a more meaningful way. But then thinking through what is going to be my communication channel and how am I going to deliver this message to keep our audience in the know of what's happening with our business. And I'll just give one example of this is a restaurant. One of our clients, one of my very first clients, actually, he was my second client ever and still with me today. He was like in my second week of business, and it's a restaurant, and he is Western Sizzlin', I'll just say it, and it's very like nostalgic restaurant that serves more of the elderly population and families, and people come in, and he's been very hesitant to adopt to the DoorDashes, and he wants it just the good old fashioned way. And I've just been talking to him about this over the years of getting at least carry out or curbside pickup or things for convenience. And while he'd been hesitant to do it, when this rolled out quickly, I mean, if you think about it, Mike, we were just talking about being at an event last week. You know, we were talking about social media marketing world last week and how we were just at an event the week before that. So all this has really rapidly happened to where now he doesn't have a choice, right? So he had to decide, I need to now think about delivery, as well as think about how I can potentially sell some of the things that they're out of at the grocery store. And then he was like, well, how do I get this out to our community? I'm like, that's what I've been here for the past 10 years. You know, you have your community there on social media. So we posted this update to his page, let everybody know, here's how you're going to order. Here's how the curbside pickup's going to work. Here's how our delivery is going to work. Here's some phone numbers that you can use to do so. His community, they had 32 shares in under 5 hours of his community sharing that out. And people were viewing his page saying, I remember going in there with my dad, and I haven't been in there for a while, but I'm coming back in and ordering from you or carry out order, because I want to see this business succeed. So when you're showing up in a way of communicating and thinking creatively and how you're going to pivot and do this, your community will show up and support you in big numbers. So I'm going to share a link to just his page, just so you can get an example of how that was done. And he posted it on his door, and it's been really beautiful to see how his community is rallying behind it.
Okay. Yeah, a few things about that stand out to me. Like, number one, it's a time where you have to pivot quickly. I mean, there's there's no more like wondering about something. Something was taken away. The ability to get people to go in and sit down was suddenly taken away, and so that forced the issue. So it's forcing some innovation like that. So I mean, that can be a challenge. You have to think through the logistics. You have to think quickly. But ultimately, I think some of those innovations will be good for businesses and will help them down the pike, and will be some lasting change. I mean, this is going to really ramp forward. Maybe he's always going to do some type of curbside then. For many other businesses, they're going to now offer what you've been doing for years, and that is that partial, remote work kind of capabilities and things like that. So it's going to take those things forward. Then along with that, what you said about the, getting it out, finding those channels, the email, getting it on your website, getting it on social, and then what you did with that, you built that community, cultivated that so that there was, I'd be glad to look at that, but 32 shares, that's tremendous. That's engagement. That's people helping people, and then people, commenting and saying, hey, we're going to order that to help you. I mean, that's just, that's lovely. That's what I like to see happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the window was closing
down. So he doesn't even have Facebook. So I sent him a screenshot, shared it. I was like, see, this works, And then I was telling about the grocery store thing, but he sent me a text back and he said, he was crying. Like he was like, he said that, yeah, that's really cool. People called in yesterday. I told them, thank you so much for their support. Our phone was ringing off the hook with people just asking how they could help. I even had a lady cry. I told her, because she said she wanted to come and eat. I told her I'd bring something, even if it, bring something to her anytime she wanted. And she said, I'll forever be a fan of Western Sizzlin and a supporter of Western Sizzlin. He was just like really shocked that how people will show up when they're just told how they can. Because he could have been like any business right now and just said, well, they're saying we can't have sit down people. That's all we're used to. We're closing, right? But now he's able to keep his full workforce, not the full thing, but now they're just taking different roles. Now they're driving food instead of maybe working as a waitress, right? And shifting, but now able to keep those team members employed, which is so important right now because this is a ripple effect. So thinking through your process, what you can creatively do different within your industry. Now, granted, there's some industries that's going to look a little bit different, but creatively kind of pivoting to see what you can do, and also looking and seeing how technology could help you along the way, and how you're going to create this communication plan. So I do have several examples of communication plans, social media communication plans that you could, now granted this is like doing it now, but even use this for in the future of having something in case something comes up again. Maybe there's a fire, right? Or there's something else that could potentially happen. Now you already have a plan in place. So you're ahead of the curve. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say you're. I was trying to check here. You'll be able to get some of these links in there. So are you talking about the resource? Yeah.
Yeah. What's great is that Facebook has also provided a list of links and resources for businesses to stay up to date. You've probably noticed this if you went to your Facebook business page, they have it kind of there at the top. And if you just type coronavirus business in the search bar, Facebook will pop up this resource here. And I know others are doing this as well, but I've just found theirs super helpful to kind of have credible resource and news, because when we're talking about communicating with your audience, here's what I want to say that you don't want to do as a business. You do not want to post, and this is my personal opinion, post and share any like side-by-side comparison of like coronavirus and the flu, or news that you do not 100% trust. And I would even say, don't even try to be the CDC. I would just say that's already taken care of, and just communicate what's relevant to your business, and make sure that you are changing up your content in a way that doesn't seem like you're tone deaf to what's going on, but use this as a way of building community, and not that you need to be the resource share of what is already being done publicly, professionally, and fact checked from some of those resources that are providing it, like the CDC or government officials. And I would just err on the side of caution with sharing anything else as a business right now, because it's just opened you up for people to share their 2 cents, one. And two, we're not doctors, or none of us know what's going on or how to, accurately answer that. So I would just err on the side of caution. I've had several clients ask that question. So when you're creating your communication plan, it's more like, okay, do we want to have all our posts that are sales right now? No. Do we want to have our posts that are talked about creatively what we're doing and how we're changing up our business flow, our new hours, especially like the new hours. I went yesterday to a FedEx location to ship a computer out, and they hadn't updated their hours on Google yet. So really thinking about those kinds of things, what's out there customer facing, that if you're traveling out, as we're limited travel, and drive time, that all this information out there is accurate on your Google My Business channel, your website, your social media channels, and then change up your posts to reflect the changes that are happening.
Yep.
Keep people encouraged, and not be tone deaf to what's going on. Don't just make it salesy. Have that balance of normalcy, but also community. I think that's the biggest thing right now is community.
Yes, yeah, and so again, just adapting, finding things that are other relevant ways. Like I said, with the co-working spot. I mean, what is the essence of co-working? Is community, right? We go to co-working spots so that we can work from an office with other people when we don't, when our team is remote. And so with the state kind of putting some limits on that, the co-working facility, is turning virtual. So we have a lot of, different, some of the events that we would have normally had, which were community gathering events. Now we're doing some virtual events, those types of pieces there. So we're meeting online, and there's been a outpouring within that saying, hey, reach out and touch base, that type of thing. So stay connected. So, I think, everyone should be making sure you have some type of, at minimum video conference connection with a person daily, to really maintain that sense of I'm connected to people, I'm interacting.
And have fun with it, right?
Yeah.
So like, one, you can do live video and talk about what's going on, of course, even if it's just you, and get people to have community with you while they're engaging. Another way is I've seen and been invited to several parties that are virtual right now. So
Yeah.
I'm doing Cards Against Humanity with Gritman and some others this Friday. There's several events there. We, again, I was talking about, we're celebrating 10 years in business in 10 days now. And we were going to do like this big, meet up and like fun things. And now we're going to be posting like how we're going to do it virtually. So there's going to be kind of spirit days, if you will, 10 fun things that we can do together as a community. So think through those aspects as well, and what you can do to invite people in to kind of have fun with your business and you, and still, like you said, maintain that community and that involvement. You mentioned something else too that, I don't know, we're kind of hitting on many topics here because there's so much to cover, and I really want to be as much of a resource to businesses out there as we can without overwhelming, really just trying to share helpful information. But events, there have been many people that are having events coming up and in the near future, me being one of them. Social Media Week Lima in June, and we've had to look at, okay, yesterday the presidential address said it could be August before we know, July, August, before we kind of return to this normalcy. So we don't really know that, but as event planners right now, you really do want to think through, can we look at a different date just to be safe? And what is that going to look like now? Looking at what your insurance, potentially, if you have insurance on your event, or even your business right now, if you were to have to close or change some things up, what does that look like for you? And then how do you, again, keep that communication going? So we've called and we've looked at future dates, make sure that that's a backup, and then we'll have to keep that in communication. But in the meantime, we've told our community for Social Media Week Lima, like, here's where we're at with it, and just been being honest with everyone. We don't know, but this is potentially going to be something that changes. So I think it's okay to not know, but still have a plan, like still work through, developing a plan and getting those resources in place, and really just checking in on what would you need to change around? What does that look like, instead of waiting until the last minute? That's another big thing.
Yeah. You can't maybe make some of those decisions, but you can at least kind of check into what options will you have, and what pathways could I take, so that you can, as days get closer, you've kind of got your scenarios that you've mapped out, and so based on things you can go scenario A, B, C kind of thing.
Absolutely. And don't be so quick though to change it to a virtual event. This is my opinion. Because some events just aren't, it's not the same. Like the speakers and everything, it's a virtual environment. I mean, I even listened back to a presentation that I did at like Social Media Marketing World or some of the other events, and you listen back and you're not there in person, or you don't see the video. It makes a big difference. So really think about, if you are going to transition something to a virtual event, you need to change it up quite a bit to make it the same value as if it was an in-person event. Virtual events are great, but really consider that what's going to, because it can't just be the same thing just brought online, because it won't have the same impact. So yes, that is an option, but don't make it your first option,
It is just because some of those most important interactions happen at your table. They happen on the breaks. They happen in the walking to and fro to get your water, whatever. Some of those really important interactions. That's the key piece of that event, more than you know, a speaker, in addition to that.
Absolutely. So the other things to think through, and I'm just going to kind of go through some of these kind of one by one since we've touched on several of them, just things to consider, right? So we talked about, having a communication plan, checking out the resources that are there, some of the apps that are free, so share those, getting creative, as well as looking at what's here today. So like if you have events coming up, what that's going to look like. Also, mail. So you know what? I didn't even think about, I went yesterday and I've always had a post office box, but I started thinking, somebody said, oh, I went to send a book to your office and it's been unsuccessful. And I was like, holy crap. Yeah. Like I don't really have anything sent to my office, but if you do, and you're not able to be at your office anymore, consider like shifting, doing a temporary change of address, or like setting something up like a PO box. So you're still getting your mail and not having to worry about that. Little things that we don't even think about, right? Like that's being one of them. And the other thing, like I said, definitely the insurance component. Like, does your insurance need to change because you're working from home now, or your team members working from home? What does that look like for you? I know many insurance companies, at least I've heard, they don't know a lot about if you have to close around like the coronavirus. This is first time they're going through it too. So I'm still waiting for clarification there, but some of those things, even your phone lines, forwarding them, like all the things that you need to think through, like your daily things, just kind of process them one by one. Don't get overwhelmed, but little things to think about. And Mark Boker even shared today, he did a live video and I only caught like a few minutes of it, but he was talking about one, how he's delivering comments out to people's car. They can come and like virtually shop with him, and then bring it out to his car. But he also thought about like all your ongoing repeating payments, automatic payments, like going through those and looking at what that looks like for your business.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think those are good things. Yeah, absolutely. To take a look at. I particularly just, you mentioned, the phone thing. I kind of take that for granted, because we went with a VoIP system, so
Voice over IP.
yeah, so I'm kind of used to that, where I can receive call on my laptop or on my mobile phone, in the app there. And again, some of those are things that people may need to look into. You can maintain your phone number, but you can, get it,
Have it forwarded.
yeah, to a different service like that. Yeah, through service. Yep.
Yeah. So having things like that just forwarded. So again, maintaining and keeping that communication, as well as a quick way to group communicate. So whether that's live video or Hangouts like we talked about, and being realistic if things are changing in your business and you're looking ahead and you're thinking, okay, well, at this rate of change financially, maybe I may need to take a short-term loan out, right? Like we have several clients where people, this is really going to hurt them, right? Like people aren't going to be potentially buying some of the services that they have, or in some of our clients' cases that are selling with Amazon, and Amazon's changing how they're taking shipments and sending shipments, as they announced today, as well as their manufacturing. So they can't have people so close together on a line. It's changing their business. So there's nothing wrong with still wanting to maintain your business and look at what are some potential loan options out there without getting some of the ones that are predator kind of loans. There's really great opportunities right now by the SBA, Small Business Association. I've shared it on the Now page on Facebook, but I'm going to share it here in the comments here, where they're offering for eligible people a long-term 30-year interest or 30-year loan with lower interest. That could be really helpful for many small businesses to kind of keep you afloat. Now, granted, it's a loan. I do think that the government's going to offer some ways of helping people out. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. They're talking about hotel ones before we jumped on here on what they're doing there. But looking at some options for your business now versus waiting until it's too late. And even like things like Seth Godin was sharing, or not Seth Godin, Simon Sinek was sharing, like, sometimes it even comes down to you coming together as a team and saying, hey, all of us maybe take a little bit of a cut versus us cutting several people, right? So just look at what that looks like. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think success is going to happen for everyone, but I'm just saying, like, it's going to be okay. There's so many resources out there and they're available to you. We want to make sure that you have access to them.
Yes, one more just to mention here,
Mhm.
Jessica, if you saw earlier today, Mari Smith posted about the Facebook Small Business Grants Program
Oh,
that
that's
is
awesome. Yeah.
it's going to be available to 30,000 businesses. It is a grant program, $100 million in grants to help small businesses weather the challenges related to coronavirus. And they have not opened up the application process yet. Let's see,
Super
but
impressed with Facebook through this. Like
yeah,
these are
yeah,
the
yeah,
businesses that are going to shine. Like we're going to be in history books, and like those are the businesses that are going to shine. The ones that are spreading positivity, helping others out, providing free services like Adobe, and giving training for $34 and access to their suite, and LinkedIn Learning, giving free LinkedIn Learning classes. Like these businesses and companies that are coming together like this are amazing. Like, and
yes.
I love that.
No, that's been good. I'm going to send you in messages. I'll get you that just so you might be able to post that one as well. So it hasn't opened up yet, the official application process, but there's a spot where you can go to stay in tune with it when it does open up there. So that's another one.
Yeah. And that's just another thing as we're talking about, like, these that are out here, share it with the community when you find out, right? Like have a community.
Yeah.
Find your community if you don't have one, of people that are like you that you can get support from. And mindset is everything. Like your mindset is everything. So as you are here and maybe changing up the way that you're working, and maybe your product, the way you're selling your services, like we shared the restaurant, and how they're transitioning in the comic book shop, right? Like you're just doing business differently. Consider, if you don't have e-commerce in place or a way for people to order, considering using this time to build that on your website, right? Like, or selling on Facebook Marketplace. I was literally getting a text from the same restaurant that I was talking about, and he's saying, "Here's all the things that we can sell that I know that's out." At the stores around here, and he's talking about his meat and macaroni and cheese, like all this stuff that are kind of like shelves are depleted. So he's thinking about how can we show up and serve the community in a good way, as well as, just do business differently, right? Like, would he ever be selling mac and cheese to anyone that's not sitting in and ordering? Absolutely not. So just look at how you can do business different. And then if you do have this time or maybe a pause moment and you're okay, like the manufacturers that I was talking about, and they're still paying their team members, but have some time off there, and some of them may have to go on unemployment just temporarily, but here's what they're doing. They're giving them some training and some things that they can do now during this time, like the free training from LinkedIn Learning that I was talking about, and all these other companies that are providing resources where now you can use this time to up your skills. When we talked about Tony Robbins, and when I came back from that Tony Robbins event, and the one thing that stood out in my mind that he said over and over again was invest in winter, meaning what you do when times are hard and slow and challenging, what you do then is going to be what you reap when you're out of winter. So if you look at this time now of how can I double down and come out of this stronger than ever before, like we're going to all bounce back. And that's going to be the telltale of the businesses that really thrive after this. I firmly believe that.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Double down, just to think what you can do now to prepare ahead. I think the other thing that you mentioned that I just want to highlight again is for people, don't go it alone. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
that your story here with the Western Sizzler was tremendous in the fact that it's okay to say, hey, this is going to be tough for us, and to let some people know that, and to watch kind of what the community can do with that then, but
Amazing.
if they don't know, if you're suffering in silence, that's just going to be a tough spot to be. So
Yeah.
it might feel like a stretch for somebody to share that, but be willing to be put that out there. Don't just don't go in silence and have that silence take you down when there can be an opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
share and see what can happen.
Absolutely. And get outside. If you can, just stay
Yes,
away from people.
the sunshine.
You go
Yes,
outside, enjoy it, like use some self-love, use this time. That's one thing I am actually using this for myself, is I've been really bad about getting out of a routine, but I'm like, now's my time. I got no excuse. I have no excuse whatsoever. I don't have anywhere to be, like, showing up here, right? But like, I am getting back into a good routine, and and making sure that I have time for those things that are going to keep me stronger mentally later, right? So I think, like you said, having a community, finding those other people, using this time to invest in yourself, invest in winter, and then even in your business too. We've had several people that are like, well, I've been putting off this website project for a while, but now I got time, like, let's get it done. I'm like, happy to help. And ask questions to others. Like I said, I am here if you want, and Mike, I know would be happy to help.
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah.
Talk about how to create a remote team member environment, even if it's just part of your team. I'm sharing a social media policy template that you can use, as well as all the resources here that I have for free tools that I've heard about, and we'll continue to put that information up on the Now Marketing Group page to make sure that as soon as we find out about it, you'll know about it. And please share when you find out about something with me, because this is definitely a coming together of businesses that all of us are going to support one another. Yeah. Yep. So.
And I'm seeing a social media for good kind of quality happen through this. I'm seeing people being, putting those things out there and talking about it. So we just need to keep that continuing. And I know that there's some of you that's still, do I want to talk about this? And so I'm just encouraging you, don't be silent. Let's even if it's you start in Messenger, that type of thing where it's one-to-one with somebody, reach out and just say, hey, this is where I'm at this point in time.
Oh my God, I've had to like mute the Queenie's thread and several other threads. I go back and read it, but it's like, we're on there, and that's fine too. We're in Boxer, and it's whatever's going to lift your spirits up, do that, whatever that looks like for you, and get that support there. And remember, like, mindset is everything with all this. So continue to invest in you and your mindset, and everything's going to work out. It always does. Just little bumps in the road here and there. And we're all here to have each other's back when we know that we need it, right? So definitely, like Mike said, share, put it out there. All of us are going through the same stuff, so it'll work out. And while I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this topic on here today, but I'm like, you know what? Like, I've been trying to be like super positive, which I am about it, but even with the team, I'm like, we can't avoid it either. Like, as Mark Sheridan always says, like, your ostrich head in the ground, like, that doesn't solve anything either. So definitely wanted to not share anything negative, but use this as a opportunity to hopefully give some ideas that could help you in your business and others to get that conversation of community and positivity started.
Yes. Being real. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and just as well, so my resource, I put it up the top of my webpage. So I have a bar at the top of MikeEnglish.com for the 3 T's of time, touch, and tools. So if anybody wants to go, that's a podcast, so you can audio, video, and blog there. So in case that's helpful. And
please post in the comments here too, and we'll make it a recap of the show. So we will be recapping the show. It'll be on the blog, nowmarketinggroup.com/blog. And we'll be back here next week on Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Excited to come back with you and share some more nuggets to keep your business growing and being a magnet versus a bullhorn with your business. So, Mike, any last finishing thoughts before we wrap it up?
I think just to reiterate what you said, stay positive, talk to some people, don't just go it alone in silence there, and use that, that downtime to build yourself, to think about the business, what can take you the leap out of here, the thing you haven't been getting to that now you could get to, so that it will prepare you to keep going and launch. Think through how you can innovate, turn, change, make some of those decisions now.
Yeah. And if you're a leader and your team members are having to change up their work environment, working with kids at home, be human, understand, it's just what it is right now. None of this is going to be perfect. It's going to be messy, but again, we're all human. We'll get through it together. So thanks so much for joining in with us this week on Training It Tuesday Live. We're Magnet Marketers. So honored that you would take some time to be with us, and cannot wait to see you next week. Until then, if you have any questions, please reach out to Mike and I. We are happy to help. Have a good rest of your week.
Take care.